Good morning, I'm Sharon Chang. On BizTech Conversations today, we have Anne Rajasaikaran, the CEO of Budimas Charitable Foundation. Welcome to the show, Anne.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, let's start off with, poverty is a global shared issue, right? Unfortunately, there are so many children that are born into this situation, and it's not a choice for them. So, can you maybe start off with the history of Budimas Foundation and its core objectives?
So the Budimas Charitable Foundation started in 1998, and then we got our licenses by the year 2000. We got our tax exempt status. It all started off with a group of insurance companies who decided that they wanted to make a difference in the lives of people in general. So the core back then wasn't to help children or older generation, or even in the to help cancer patients or whatnot. So they said every year we'll come around together and we'll do something that's going to make a difference under this foundation called Budimas. So eventually, just one person took on this project, which was Tunku Yaakob. So he took over the foundation and decided that it will be a foundation to cater for underprivileged children in Malaysia. So then we set up a board of trustees, we had a management team, and we had our vision and mission, and we decided to do this properly. So that's the history of Budimas. When I came in approximately 11 years ago, Budimas was only supporting homes. So we would get a lot of funds and sponsorship from companies and generous Malaysians, and we would actually donate it to other homes approved by Kebajikan. So that's all we did. After that, I realized we could do a bit more, because that is just solving the problem on the surface. Yes. So then it all started in this blessed place in Klang called Kappa, where we went there for a home visit, but we ended up in this school canteen, and we found a few children who spoke really well but were very, very small in size. They were malnourished. Basically, they were malnourished. So they had the body sizes of a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old, but they were actually 13 and 14-year-old children. Why they were like this was simply because they just didn't have enough to eat.
Didn't have enough to eat from,
So then we started talking to the school teachers, and we started talking to the kampungs nearby to find out more about these children. So apparently there's a big community of these children who are just there, who are just very malnourished and very, very poor. So when asked what were they doing around the canteen, they were waiting for the canteen operators to see if they had any extra food. They wanted to eat the food, So then together with a group of people, we came up with this grand idea of trying to feed these children. So we started off in this very school in Klang, and we said that we're just going to give this a try, and it was a trial and error phase for us as well. We spoke to the school teachers, and we spoke to the headmaster, and we said, we want to feed the children, but we are all the way in KL. How do we do this? So we got some volunteers involved, we got the canteen operators involved, and we said, we will pay you and you will feed the children. So back then there was already this program called the RMT, the Rancangan Makanan Tambahan, which the government runs. Having said that, the number of children who qualified under that program in that school was very, very low. So meaning there was more poor children who needed this, but the funds were not enough. So what we decided to do was we undertook those who fell out of the system, So we did that, and from 25 children it went to 50 children, 50 children it went to 500, 5,000. So as per last year, we have feeding approximately 7,000 children. Not only in Klang, we expanded in close to 6 other states in Malaysia. So that's the history of that.
And when you're now nourished, you don't have enough food in your stomach, how can you study, right?
Exactly.
You go to school and you just can't concentrate, right?
So our first initiative was just to feed these children because the situation was so bad back then. So the second phase was to actually, we started taking their weight and to do a bit of research to see how much more they benefited and whether they were gaining weight and they're getting healthier. And after that, the teachers were giving us back feedback saying that they stayed in school longer and they were focusing even more. And passing rates got better and attendance improved.
That's fantastic. There's an analysis actually commissioned by UNICEF which suggests that there's about 1.77 million actually children live in relative poverty in Malaysia.
Yes.
it's really an appalling figure. I mean, for us, we are so comfortable, living in our own bubble. We are so unaware that there are so many children out there actually in poverty.
Yes.
Right? You have been on the ground. Okay, from your observations, where do we stand actually in regards to the poverty issue for children?
Okay, I think this problem is very centrically focused to the outer states in Malaysia, So this problem rarely exists in the city. So if you go to the city areas like KL and JB and Penang, so that's not where the poverty happens. It usually happens at the outskirts. So actually in KL there are also poor children, but they may be around the Orang Asli communities, maybe around the Sepang area, Klang and all of those areas. So as much as I think the government is doing as much as they can, I think we're not focusing so much to the areas which needs it the most, because the easy thing to do is just to go to the cities and say that I'm feeding these underprivileged children. Whereas in reality, in Budimas, we've discovered that it went to places where even phone lines were not reachable over there. Those were the places which really needed help. And I think that's why that number which was stated is very, very true, it's very correct, because those are actually the children who have not seen television, who does not know what a handphone is, who doesn't believe in eating 3 times a day simply because their families can't provide for it. So part of our other initiatives is also to provide for education for the Orang Asli community. In fact, 2 weeks ago we were there to launch our 9th libraries, where we met students who, when you ask them about school, none of them has heard of school. When you ask them about books, they say we only see the books in the library which you put in here. So this is 2020, those kind of children still exist.
Really sad actually. I mean, as a mother, I feel it. So, okay, currently the foundation is supporting about 59 homes, right?
Yes.
So how do you actually decide which homes to support?
So hence why we have a very small management team. So we basically will sit together and come up with an audit team. So this team is supposed to go and visit these homes unannounced, meaning we don't tell them when we're coming, and we check out their surrounding, we check out where they live, how they live, we make sure there's no abuse happening, we're making sure that there's no mismanagement of funds, and we actually observe the children really, really well. So homes which were a bit questionable in terms of how they were run and the mental health of their children, or even their basic general health, we would pretty much put a hold on it and we would investigate further, because we do not condone homes like this. So all of the 59 homes have kebajikan licensing, so we work together with the government.
So they are all approved by kebajikan, right?
Yes. So we work together with them and we get the guidelines provided by the welfare department itself, and we have our own guidelines as well. We put that together and our management team will go and tick all of the boxes before deciding who we donate to them.
So how often actually do you review the funds on, how the funds are used for, for the homes?
So usually we have a contract with them for a whole year. Having said that, every 3 to 4 months there's always a team going there to check out whether their funds are actually being utilized to what the reports that they send us. So for example, some of these homes they have other donors as well. So
yes, of course.
So if a home or a charity home tells you that I need 10,000 ringgit to run my home, believe them, because you have to take into account to their number of children, their number of overheads, how much it costs to feed the children, how much it costs to educate these children, transportation and all that. So this amount may very well be true. But having said that, you have to ask the right question as to who else supports you. Because you're going to have communities which are generously giving rice packs to them. You're going to have an individual who says, I'll take care of your electricity bill. And you're also going to have the very friendly neighborhood uncle who says, I will drive your kids for free. So having said that, we have to decide how much really do we give these homes.
So when do you stop supporting these homes?
It's like this. So after their contract is over, we will sit and we will review them. So after which we will decide again, we will go through the whole process again and speak to them and see who else is supporting them and how else they can manage. Sometimes these homes are kind enough to say, you know what, we're doing really well, you can take these funds and give it to this other home. That has happened. And we've also eventually let go of homes which we think are doing really well. Their number of children decreases, their children graduate and leave the home, so their overheads are not so high. So we take these funds and we give it to another home.
So normally how many years? 2-3 years?
Approximately 2 to 3 years.
see.
Yeah, but we've supported homes longer than about 5 years more, especially in Sabah and Sarawak, because they really do need our assistance.
Yeah, earlier you mentioned the programs, right? I mean, you have done amazingly, and you come up with amazing programs to help the underprivileged children, right? To address the basic needs, right? Like home, food, education.
Yeah.
So can you actually elaborate more on
each one of the programs?
Yeah, dive in more on
Sure.
On the programs itself?
Okay, so the feeding program, like what I said, was one of the our home program, which we support financial assistance to the home, was our very first program 12 years ago, and then our feeding program came right after that, where we support close to 7,300 students right now in 162 schools. And so this program basically provides a healthy breakfast in the value of RM2.50 for each child every school going day for primary school students.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also have our education charity fund, where we also provide education grants to deserving underprivileged children who needs to go to higher education and university and colleges. Also, we are building Orang Asli libraries for all of this Orang Asli community. So that was a very interesting project for us, because our end goal was to emphasize on the importance of education
Yes, of course.
to these children.
I mean, education is a proven tool, right? I mean, to
Yes.
social mobility. So.
Yeah. So when we met these Orang Asli community children, we realized that no matter how much you give them, no matter how much you try to bring them out from their kampongs to the city to study, they didn't like that.
Okay,
Because
what's the reason?
they love being in their kampong.
Okay.
They just like their whole community. So they're very comfortable in their community. They don't like going out. So we try not to fight the culture. So what we said, okay, let's bring you a community center.
Yeah,
So we decided to build a community center and a library where they were at.
Okay.
So, and we've had a lot of success with that. We've had a lot of students show up. We've also had a lot of corporates which contacted us saying that we want to be a part of this. How can we do this? So this has been quite a great hit.
So over the years, right, how many underprivileged children has the foundation actually helped?
I think it's safe to say, like, I think it's more than 50,000 which has benefited from this whole thing. Because every year we support a home. An average number of children in the home is about 200 to 300 children, and every year this number increases and it moves about, right? And then our feeding program is 7,300 itself.
Yeah.
So more than 50,000 children has benefited from Budimas.
So in terms of funding, right, how does actually Budimas go about raising funds? Do you hold events, or do you have corporates who actually come in to donate on a regular basis? How do you go about that?
So there's this misconception that corporates are very big to support us. I will have to set the record straight.
Okay.
The bulk of our donors are from fellow Malaysians like you and I.
Okay.
So we run a very good pledging program where we get them to donate to us 38 ringgit on a monthly basis, or 58 ringgit or 88 ringgit on a monthly basis. So we've had thousands of donors who are just Malaysians, hence why we've gotten a lot of support to run the programs which we needed to do. It's because of this consistency of this support and the fundings that we've been able to do this. Having said that, it's also interesting to see that a lot of corporates also help us, because once in a while we'll get them contacting us. We've had PNG, we've had HP, we've had Follow Me, a lot of companies which have contacted us.
So for individuals, I mean, how do they go about donating? Do they go to your site? Is there a platform?
Yeah, it's on our website. So what we do is that we have it on our website where you can just click online and you can have all of the details over there, fill up your details, and you'll be on our pledging program. Or you can even call us in to let us assist you as to how to do it.
You mentioned about corporates, right? So can you actually give us an example of any CSR projects that corporates have actually undertaken to support your cause?
We've had some very good corporates who were very keen to help us with our library project. So because that was the easiest project for them to see the end goal of it, you see. So they were very happy with that. We've had companies like Toys R Us, we've had PNG, we've had HP sponsor libraries. So they would adopt the whole library, the building of the whole thing, and we'd fill it up with books and all of that, and they would curate it individually.
So where do you get your books from?
We have sponsors, and we also buy it on a bulk pricing.
So, I mean, if people who wants to, get rid of their books, do we send it to your
Yeah, you can send it to our
something?
office. We have a big collection box downstairs at the lobby, so you can just leave it over there. Our team will process through it, because unfortunately when some people donate the book, sometimes the book are not in good condition or are not suitable for the children, so we give it away to some other foundation. But most of these books will be processed, and we will have like proper coding systems in there so that it's been audited well.
I mean, now we have in this COVID-19 situation, right?
Yeah.
Are there any challenges raising funds now?
Well, we've had a couple of our donors, like quite a few contacted us during the COVID situation and said that, hey, I've lost my job, so I would like to put my donation on hold.
Okay.
We have a heart, we understand that, and we were fine with that. But as soon as the RMCO was lifted, a lot of them came back.
Okay,
Our Malaysian
that's
donors are very kind, and they have a heart, and they really go beyond everything else to put us first. And after all, the amount is substantially affordable, so we don't force them. You can donate to us, and you can stop your donation anytime you feel like it.
There are so many charities, and you hear lots of news of mismanagement of funds. So how does the foundation actually maintain the transparency and accountability?
I think it's because we also practice a very strong separation of departments and their roles, you see. So we don't overlap their roles. So my role as the CEO, I don't get involved so much. I advise the finance department, who reports to the board and to the chairman. So everything's pretty much done with an SOP. And we also don't have, within the staffs itself, they are all individuals who are handpicked from various industries, so there's really no room for money management, and no one really has an idea as to, you know, it's like, I'm going to use this for my public interest. So far, I mean, as long as I've been here, I've not seen this, and it's all been a very matter-of-fact kind of like situation. In fact, our board of trustees and our chairman, none of them take a salary, and they are here to meet us 4 times a year to ensure that we do the right thing.
So the books are all in order.
Yes, they ask. There's the check and balance over there, and they always ask us the right questions, and they ask us the difficult questions as well. So, and they are all business people from various industries and backgrounds. So our chairman's a chartered accountant, so of course he's going to ensure that we spend our money wisely.
As a final question, and I just want you to reinforce the message, like us for an individual, right? How can actually we make a difference to actually contribute to this cause in a sustainable manner? I mean, over a period of time instead of an ad hoc basis, you know? How can we do it?
I think in the end of it, I think the whole understanding of the issue would help a lot. Over the years, I realized my job got a little bit more easier when people understood what a foundation does. So in the beginning, I still had a lot of people who were very, you know, adverse towards, you know, I'm not sure what's going to happen to my money if I give it to you, you know. But I feel more and more people are getting educated on this matter, and they're coming up with various creative ways to help us out to make a difference. I'll give you a simple example. During MCO, when this happened, we had a lot of donors contact us on our social media and on our website asking, so I'm sure your kids will have to do Zoom classes, right? I say, do they have enough devices? We would like to donate our devices. So I feel the more you understand about what we do, the, you know, it gets much more easier for us. It got easier for us to speak to people about donating their devices, their old handphones, their old laptops, and that happened. I kid you not, 5 years ago, if I would have run through this idea, they would have turned around and said, why would I want to give you my free handphone? And you would sell it away or do something. So the mindset was different. So to answer your question, I would appreciate if more and more people understand about our cause. If you have questions, talk to us about it. Corporations can do a lot more, So anytime you feel like you have a CSR budget and you want to make a difference and you want to do something, be in touch with us. We will tell you what exactly you can do, and we will help you do it. We're not just going to just leave you there and say that, no, you figure this out, you contact the children. No. So we will work as an intermediary where you can work with the children and you can make a lot of difference. Because today I feel it's beyond the whole education and a home and food, you know, it's beyond that. It's more about teaching them about the digital world. It's teaching them about being savvy in the internet, you know, and all of that. People's skills, basic education needs, you know, when they go to university, they need a laptop. It's not considered a luxury anymore, it's a need. If you can just work with us with that, we would definitely appreciate that. with the corporations.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anne, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are doing such an amazing job. It's a fantastic cause. Hopefully that this will actually be very sustainable and moving forward and have more programs coming on board.
Thank you so much for having me.
We were speaking to Anne Rajasaikaran, the CEO of Budimas Charitable Foundation. Check us out on biztech.asia for more insightful conversations.